The prefix, I might just keep this in. I bought a new desk. I set up desks. I put all my stuff differently. So, because of that, I have not streamed with this. Well, I've streamed with this setup. I haven't recorded a video with this setup. So, I don't really know how this is going to go. So, yeah. If it goes well, cool. But my monitor that I usually record with, I usually read off my script with, is a lot higher than it usually is, so I have no idea how it's gonna go. Also, you can probably tell my character is in a completely different spot, but that is because I kind of want to showcase the definition and shit. Definitely not the boobies. I don't really give a fuck about that. So it's finally here, the end of an unlikely trilogy, and I'm definitely not partly writing a script at 3 a.m. because it took me forever to beat this game. So the first game, I have to say, is that I felt that whatever article or source I looked at was wrong. Main reason I say that is because I feel like I should have played this game before playing Grand Theft Auto 3. The main reason is because it introduced to the main character, and also because it kind of gives me more information on the ending. I'll be honest, the ending for GTA 3 made absolutely no sense until I played this game. I saw all this, but the ending still made no sense after being Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. But in this review, we will compare all three games, what I liked and what I disliked about this game. Also, we'll discuss the story and what I felt about it, and the gameplay. But I have to say that this game was completely different from all the other games. There was so many different systems introduced that I liked, but disliked at the same time. So, this game is the first game in the series that had a level up system. Now, there's no RPG, a level up system where you put points in the stats, but I would say think more of The Sims or any reality game. The main reason I say reality is because the GTA game adds realism, and I'm on the fence on this addition. So throughout the game, you're called skinny. That you need to eat, and until you put your weight up, the characters around you keep calling you weak and skinny. Now, in most games, you would have to deal with characters giving you shit about your weight. Or you will have to do a training montage where you aren't really involved in the process. San Andreas wanted you to be involved in every aspect of CJ's life, which is why I say I'm on the fence with it. It was funny making him lift weights and watching this guy who looks starved turn into this hulking man that fills out his hoodie. Now, I'm not going to say the muscle looks great on him, because walking is always interesting to say the least. But again, having this type of mechanic makes me happy when it comes to gaming, but not really content creation. So, as most know, when you're creating content, you try to use your time wisely, because wasting time isn't the best if it isn't entertaining. I wasn't streaming this game at all since I wanted to play this game on the Steam Deck. Out of all the games, this ran the best on the Steam Deck, even though the game definitely didn't look the best at all. I can't call this game an FPS, since I can actually see my character while he was shooting at people. So if you aren't aware, I've been calling all the other GTA games FPS games, since I was always in first person when I was shooting my gun. I'm just going to assume this happens when you play on the Steam Deck and isn't really a thing if you play it on PC. But back to the leveling portion of this game. I talked about this before, but if you don't level up certain things in the game, it's talked about by other characters as you play. So, if you haven't leveled up driving, then you will be told that you aren't the best driver, which is said a lot in this game. It is weird. In the game where you are the primary driver, everyone shits on your driving skills. Again, I feel like this dialogue will happen regardless, since it's very hard to level up your driving, unless you are only driving one type of vehicle. I drove mostly motorcycles, so my riding skill got leveled up a lot faster. All I saw it gave me was the ability not to fall off my bike as easily. But I have no idea why leveling driving takes so long. Especially when driving is something you do a ton in this game. But a lot of these leveling up skills took you out of the game and made you have to deal with life. So there are a few missions in this game that require you to do things before you continue mission. Either clearing out an area of enemy gangs, or swimming. So I think there was one mission that caused me to stop missions progression entirely. That was the stealth ship mission. I say that, but there are a few of these stealth ship missions. We're going to only talk about one. So for this mission, you have to hold your breath underwater for a prolonged period of time. And of course, the game wouldn't make this mission simple. You have to level up diving. Well, I guess swimming because it is a fairly easy thing to do. You have to level up diving. Well, I guess swimming because it is a fairly easy thing to do. You can just dive in water and stay submerged before you drown. Doing this repeatedly will level up your lung capacity. Also your stamina, so you can swim, run, and bike faster. Thankfully, a lot of things do mess together, because it would be annoying to level up every single thing. But swimming also reduces your fat. So just like real life, it is a good exercise to lose fat. Yes, there is a fat bar that can be increased or decreased, which means your character can become fat if you allow it. Never really saw my fat bar increase much, since outside of going to a fast food place to eat to increase health, I didn't really care to go eat. So I think the game wanted you to feel like you were in this world, especially because certain characters love the fast food in the game. I feel like if they allowed you to keep the food as health items, then I would have bought more food. Healing can be found from eating fast food, hearts around the world, or from saving/starting a new mission. But going back to the original topic of this section, you have a ton of things that kind of prevent you from progressing. Now, there was something that prevented me from ending the game, like the other games in this series. So this game, like the other games, has something that stops you from finishing the game. But unlike the others, is more clear cut. So without spoiling, you have to take over the other gang's area. And so you can fill up the area with your gang, so that you don't have enemies on all sides of you. You have to take over a set amount of areas, or you won't be able to even start the end mission. The good thing is that you are called as soon as you are able to start the mission. Now the worst part about this part is that during this section of the game, you don't really see much cars around. So you have to basically run everywhere unless you luckily see a car that you can use. While fighting waves of gangs, you also have to prevent gangs from claiming your areas. So you have to run around to stop that. There's a lot of things to do at the end for one person. But we'll talk about that really soon. But I feel like it's finally time to talk about the story. So in GTA 3, we're a silent killer. In GTA Vice City, we're an ex-mob killer. And in GTA San Andreas, we're an ex-gangbanger that is made to go back into the gang. In this game, we are called Johnson, aka CJ, member of the Grove Street gang, that ran away after the death of someone close to him. Also, this is a game with two infamous memes. The "Here we go again," and also the large fast food order. But after years away, CJ comes back to San Andreas to bury his mother, decides to stay and right his wrongs. For the most part, you just reconnect with the people that still live on the block, see that this community, even though a gang, is a family. You reconnect with your brother Sweet and sister Kendall. Both had different ideas for the future. Sweet wants the Grove Street gang to better her community, push out the other gangs. Kendall wants to leave the crime life and find a better life for her family, even though a lot of the things we do are illegal. But the "Here we go again" meme kind of encapsulates this game, since CJ is back doing the same shit he went away from. But he has to do the dirty work, which is driving everyone around to basically get back into everyone's good graces. You're the first of the three to actually start from the bottom to basically make it big. And splitting the block by going back to our hood, being told to be there for your family. Now, as much as I like this fresh approach, I also disliked it. So it's interesting to have a character that started from the bottom and basically rose up to making it big, so to speak. Now, the reason I disliked it had more to do with the ending section, which I somewhat talked about. At the end, TJ wanted more than just being in the hood and saving the gang. But Sweet wanted to work on it to make it better since it was the same place he grew up. At the end of the day, both are right, but Sweet is more wrong than right. So as much as I agree that you should help your community if you can, I also feel like that isn't really CJ's job. CJ came back and immediately had to go back to being in a gang, which truthfully was of his own free will, but also not. I'm going to guess that CJ knew that unless he went back to the gang, he wouldn't be able to get close to his guys again, which is kind of sad. I thankfully don't really know many people in gangs, and even when I did, I didn't really hang out with them. To give some context, I went to a high school that had a high gang population, which is why we had metal detectors in my school. But I didn't really have reasons to hang out with people in gangs, even though I did have friends that were in gangs. But it wasn't like this game. I didn't really have to do dangerous shit if we did hang out, because at the end of the day, we were kids. We could go eat. It didn't really need to go on a ride along to prove that was worth their time. CJ, which I thought was in his mid to late 30s when I saw him, doesn't really fit his game. He has high aspirations, to succeed in life, and not really be weighed down by one place. Now, for the most part, I wouldn't say CJ is smart enough to be cunning, since he is still stuck to his hood mentalities when it comes to certain things. He doesn't mind working on enemies to kill them later on, or putting on a gimp suit in order to get an access card. I also didn't know the name of the suit that people wear at times, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with this information. But the best way to describe CJ is the way Sweet sees him at times, which is someone that wants to better himself and no one else. I would say this is bad, but truthfully, there's nothing bad about thinking for yourself. If you want to help other people, then good. But at what point do you not look out for yourself? I feel like Sweet compliments CJ pretty well, because he is a character that bleeds Grove Street. Will do anything to help them out, even if it hurts him. Sweet is willing to sacrifice himself for family, while CJ wants to get ahead in life. Doesn't really care who he has to go through to do it. Again, it isn't to a point CJ would harm people that haven't slighted him, but he would inconvenience them if it helps someone he knows. Now, I can never say that anyone in this game is good or bad, because this game is very gray. Everyone, for the most part, is for themselves. Wants to get ahead in life, even if they mess up someone else's life. I think the funniest thing in this game was opening it up and seeing this older looking guy have to jump back into the gang. I didn't really understand why he was going back to his life, when he outgrew it long ago. Oh, this is a story section of the video. I haven't really discussed how I felt about the story, so I felt like the story was all over the place. And that isn't because of pacing. So there are a bunch of optional missions in this game, or for these additional quests, meet a colorful cast of characters. Thankfully, for the most part, these characters seem to rear their head again one way or another. Now, I wouldn't say you see CJ grow, except when it comes to leveling. He doesn't really become smarter after dealing with different situations, or after learning different sets of skills. CJ is still the same person that started the game, not trusting the cops or anyone new, but willing to do things if he sees a somewhat good outcome. Also, small spoilers, but not really, so be warned. So in this game, we are briefly introduced to the main character of GTA 3 during a mission. It's a very small role, truthfully until I saw him, and then saw the character he was with, that gave me an idea of what was happening. The person that he leaves with basically starts the beginning of 3. That gives light to the beginning and ending of the game. Without playing this game, nothing makes sense. So I would have to say that you kind of have to play this game to get an understanding of everything. I like the story, even though I don't really feel like the culmination of everything made me happy. It all made sense. The side missions were interesting. It also included a lot of other things that was introduced in the other games, which is great. To make a long answer short, I like the story. Now, this game wasn't short of antagonists because you had so many enemies at your doorsteps. From cops, to gangbangers, to mobsters, triad, drug addicts, to ex-girlfriends, and many more. The game shows us who the big antagonist is at the beginning of the game. You can kind of guess who that would be. So one of the first faces you see when loading up the game is a pair of cops that pick you up and steal the money you have on your person. The reasoning is that it was probably illegal, but at the end of the day it was a power play. This is very important because it sets the tone and tells you what side these cops are on. They aren't good, but cops that line their pockets with whatever they can find believe that they are above the law. Just from this one interaction, you realize that the cops aren't good or trying to help, but that they decide what goes on in the streets. If it helps them, then they allow it. But if they get nothing for it, then they will get rid of it. It just goes to show that nothing in this game is good or bad, but just great. Well, actually, I would say they are bad, since they are abusing their power to line their pockets and get away with murder. Like I said earlier, there are a ton of bad guys you fight that kind of deserve a punch to the face. It's something I wish I didn't have to deal with. So something you may have picked up on if you played the previous game is the ex-girlfriend. I have to say that whole story arc is weird because what exactly is happening? We already have a girlfriend when we are made to do this mission. Then we have to deal with someone that is a yandere. After one mission of robbing with her, we act like a whipped puppy that is obsessed with money, and so we do whatever she wants. She is just a wild character that we have to deal with. And it kind of breaks the character of CJ. Someone that shouldn't really get on his hands and knees for someone he just met. But that's just because money is involved. I did say that CJ did whatever when it came to money, but it was never belittling to the point of this relationship. Also, it was hard to call an antagonist, because she has only one during the last mission you see her in. Then she is just an annoying fly on the wall after this point. So after this mission, you get random calls, and the calls are revealed to be her. Again, this isn't really hard to find since she has a pretty memorable voice. I have excluded some pretty big antagonists in this section, because there would be huge spoilers and I'd rather not do that to anyone. I feel like this game uses their characters well, and is a massive step up from the previous games. In Vice City, I talk about how Mercedes should have been used better, but San Andreas uses all of their named characters. The only time you didn't see or hear about a character was because they were dead or cut you off. I feel like this is probably my favorite game in the series because I remember the characters they use. I kind of touched up on gameplay earlier, but don't really expect anything new in this game, besides a few additions. I think the best addition was that you could swim. Playing the game with a black protagonist is the one where your character didn't get a game over screen once they touched water. Like I said earlier, you also had the addition of leveling things up by doing it. Lifting weights allowed your character to build muscle and it showed when you played. Swimming and running helped with stamina, so you could do these activities more often. I think one of the surprise gameplay mechanics that was added was the ability to stealth in the game. So in this game, you could crouch. With crouching, you can shoot behind objects, so you weren't just advertising your body as a target dummy. Sadly, most times you didn't really have a place to hide behind, so you kind of just had to hope you were fast on the trigger. The beauty of leveling your weapon skills is that the more you use them, the better at using them you get. There's one that you can dual wield once you get to a high enough level. A few of them allow you to add more range to your shooting, so that way you can kill enemies before they get close enough to shoot you. Sadly, you kind of need a lot of time to get these weapons to these levels, so you won't really see these skills till late game. I kind of wish there was an armor skill that the more you use the armor and it got depleted, the longer it took to deplete it. And because most of the game, you kind of went in alone to fight. But before I talk about that, I need to address another thing. So stealth also added something besides cover, which is stealth kill. No, I'm not talking about using a pistol with a silencer and taking out your enemies, even though you can do that. I meant that you can kill enemies with a knife if you snuck up behind them. I didn't really know how to do this for the longest time, but you have to target them with your aim button, then while stealthed, use your attack button. This was a fun addition because most of the game, you're always firing first and taking care of whoever was in your path. There are a few stealth-based missions in this game that I failed at because the stealth aspects were very easy to fail. Okay, time to talk about how you go about missions in this game. So for the most part, you're running missions solo. But you have to remember that you are part of a gang. That means the more respect you have, the more people from your gang you can recruit to join you during a fight. This kind of requires you to have a car to drive everyone around, and to also have them nearby in order to recruit them. Also, it has to be understood that this mechanic is not really something that can be used, since a lot of the time you are away from your hood. That just means you aren't able to find your fellow members that can help you in these fights. I truthfully would take more armor over more hands in the fight any day. Also, I said in the last video that I hoped that this game would have more saves wherever you went. But sadly, it was sadly the same as Vice City. And if you bought a property, then you could save there, and any other important place. You weren't able to save readily whenever you wanted. Driving was also better because you were able to flip over the car whenever it got flipped, so you didn't have to immediately abandon ship whenever it went upside down. Another new thing in this game was the ability to fly planes and helicopters. Although you could fly a helicopter in Vice City, but that was truthfully for one mission, and that was it. But I do like that you could go around in a helicopter or a plane and explore this gigantic map. So this video is already taking a long time, so we'll probably do 2 more sections, then we will start winding down. So this game was massive, and I mean that in 2 ways. The map takes a long time to traverse. There's a ton of content in this game to get through. So in this game, including optional quests, there's a total of 100 quests. These quests are separated by what section of the game you are put into. Like I said earlier, it takes quite a while to get through the map. And that is because this game is so big. You have about 4 or 5 different sections. It will take you a bit to get to your destination if you decide to drive through the whole thing. I guess to encourage you to increase your driving stats, that you have to get around. I feel like a fast travel would have been smart in this game, but it was very understandable why it wasn't included. When the game includes so many transportation methods like flying and traveling by boat, why include a fast travel? It is also the first game in this series that has swimming, so they made sure to include all the ways to get around. I'm also a fan of fast travel and massive games like this, because after a while, you get tired of traveling everywhere, want to just do missions. In Cyberpunk, I use fast travel a ton and only drive after fast traveling to get to my destination. Also, I could pull out so many cars from a good list, but no. We are always commit Grand Theft Auto. There is no car that is ours, unless we steal it. And for some reason, people can try to steal our cars. But yeah, this game is a big upgrade transportation wise. Compared to other games, I'm happy with it. So it's probably already been shown that I like this game more than the other games. Now, the weird thing is that this game has the most things out of the 3, but doesn't look the best. Vice City looks immensely better. They came out a year before, which I don't understand. How does a game that came out later look worse? No, worse isn't the right word to use. It just looks the same as GTA 3, but adds a lot more. As much as I dislike mission based games, I'm happy I was able to experience all these games again. Now, here's the thing. I wouldn't have played these games again if it wasn't because of this series. Now, I wish I would say that I had a ton of fun without annoyances, but that would be a lie. I dislike that you can't progress missions because of things you have to do outside of missions. GTA 3 was the only game from my memory that didn't stop you from progressing through the game. In Vice City, you weren't even told how to finish the game. Well, it was hinted, but it doesn't make sense to have to buy properties to finish the game. Thankfully, in San Andreas, you were told repeatedly when going to the mission that you need to take over areas. It took forever to complete because you didn't have many ways to get around because of the small amount of vehicles available. You can still complete the game after a bit, but I wish I didn't decide to complete the game after getting the mission unlocked. It took me hours to complete the prerequisites to get the last mission, since I fought alone and died a lot. Also, when you die, you lose access to all your weapons. You have to buy everything again, which is shit. I'm not going to rank these games because I feel like ranking them makes no sense. The games all add their own spin to the series and complements themselves. I like San Andreas the most because I didn't die when I swam, and also other things I already talked about. Overall, I do like all the things that were introduced to this game. Because of all these things, I will actually be happy to play GTA 4 whenever I get time. But there's a bunch of other videos that will be before that video, especially since there are 3 other scripts that are already written before this one. That just means that there was 3 more game review videos that I really want to talk about. But I did really like the introduction of the crouch, so it wasn't just used for stealth. He also crouched in order to have more of a stable shot, so I was always in that position once I got into a gunfight. I kind of wish you were able to shoot while swimming, but it makes sense why you couldn't do it. I think the last note I want to talk about is CJ's character. I wish there was growth for consistency. CJ did things because he felt that others wanted him to do it, not because he wanted to do it. He didn't really do anything he wanted until the end. Even when he started buying properties, it was because his sister told him to do it. Kind of wish he had a thought to himself, because he only really did things he wanted a few times. Those times were when CJ had the chance to get revenge on the people that wronged him. Other than that, most of his actions were based on what other people wanted him to do. I'd rather have a main character to have an identity, where they make their own decisions. But as you can tell, I like this game. Going to speedrun the life update section because I want to record this video and go work out. So for the first time ever, I'm recording this video in the dead of night. I'm also recording this video a day before my birthday, because why not? I also woke up this morning and saw the layout for how everything will look on stage for the tour I'm doing. It didn't really look that good, but I will have to make sense of it once I get there. But it's a very strange situation. The reason it is strange is because I'm only going to show up for a week and then I'm off for a month. That isn't something that is common for me at all. I wasn't really planning to go in for such a short amount of time because I needed to learn what I need to do. So I rarely do lead positions because it's very stressful and I don't want to deal with that headache. Sadly, the only company that wants me for a tour wants me to lead. So I'm taking what I can get. My plan was to get there and label everything I could, so things were just plug and play. The problem with just going in for a week is that I'll be away for a month, so it's very likely I'll forget everything. Also, I'm planning to do nothing while I'm home, especially since I'll only be working with 1 week's worth of pay. I also dislike that I get paid bi-weekly, since that isn't something I have dealt with on the tours I've been on. There isn't going to be any real updates on that tour, in the upcoming videos since the next 3 scripts are already written. Anyway, I'm going to go sweep up a bit since it is too late to really do anything else. I may write some stuff for my story and draw a bit, but who knows where the night will take me. Let me know how you felt about this game, and if you liked it, if you played it. Hope you have a great rest of your day and an amazing week. My name is Oni the Incubus, that has been my time. Later days, love you all. Send you kisses, consensually. I love you all. Bye. I'm gonna go enjoy my night. I love you all. Peace. Bye.